This is BNN, and this is a spoiler review for Interstellar. I saw the film about 2 weeks ago. I have not seen it since. I was planning to rewatch it, but never got around to doing so. Perhaps I'll watch the film again after I finish a book I just started reading. The book is called The Science of Interstellar. I am sure I'll do a book review later. Anyway, onto the review. And remember, this review will have spoilers, and this is going to be a short review. People say this is a space version of Inception, and I guess you can call it that. Currently the film has a well-deserved rating of 8.9 out of 10 on IMDb, the Internet Movie Database. The most appealing thing about this film, and other Nolan films, are they require you to think a little while watching. There is nothing wrong with going to the movies just to shut your brain off for 2 hours while you watch a bunch of CGI and explosions. But there is far too much of that in cinema. Anyway, this film does have a few little things that get on your nerves. For me, I could not stand the fact they used a well-known poem over and over again. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage Against the Dying of the Light, is a well-known poem, and I believe they use it 3 or 4 times during the film. That has to be the biggest thing that bugged me. Another thing I didn't like was Anne Hathaway's little love speech in the middle of the film. It was a little out of character, but that is understandable to a point considering she has been in space for as long as she has been in blah blah blah. I just thought it was overacted. Completely overreaching and emotional for the point of being emotional. I wish Christopher Nolan reshot the scene and told her not to ham it up. Moving on. I, like many others, had a problem with the third act of the film. What I love about Interstellar is how it is grounded in actual science or scientific theory, and you can easily argue that the third act of the film is pretty much all scientific theory, but it was presented more like sci-fi theory, if you know what I mean. It didn't fit with the logic of the rest of the film because it takes giant leaps of faith when it comes to fifth-dimensional theoretical physics. It was not like the ending came out of nowhere and was just there for the point of bringing everything together. Based on the beginning of the film, you can tell that Nolan had that ending in mind. However, our current understanding for that kind of science is many decades away. And because Nolan threw love into the mix and linked love in with advanced galactic theoretical physics, I can see why people are upset, or did not get it. And I am even rolling my eyes a little because Nolan put love into the equation. Regardless, the film was extremely entertaining, and I am more than happy to put up with Nolan trying to say that love is a force as strong as the gravitational pull of a huge black hole. Using love is a little abstract for the purpose of putting the main character of the fifth-dimensional space, aka the Tesseract, where he is able to manipulate gravity's time-traveling ability in order to communicate with his daughter. Personally, I think it would have worked better if Nolan took love out of the scientific equation and somehow used the robot, TARS, to communicate with Matthew McConaughey's daughter. TARS would have made a better quote-unquote ghost, and that reminds me. Another thing that bugged me was how we all knew that Matthew McConaughey would end up being the ghost in his daughter's room. Anyway, the film is definitely worth checking out. If you have not done so already, I guess I should address a few more things while we are at it. One thing people did not like about the film is how Matthew McConaughey walks straight into NASA and they pretty much send him into space the next day. I was even a little taken back by this. At first, I thought it was a simulation flight test or something. I'm guessing the film was running a little too long so they had to cut a few NASA training scenes or something. No big deal. I guess we should also talk about another huge spoiler, Dr. Man. Another problem people had with the film was Matt Damon's character, Dr. Man. I did not know Matt Damon would be in this film, and it was a pleasant surprise, and Matt Damon's performance is spot on. He plays the part perfectly. Matt Damon's character, Dr. Man, is quote-unquote the best of the astronauts, and I guess, the best of the human race. He ultimately succumbs to the isolation of the ice planet and blah blah blah. Matt Damon's performance is one of the best things about the film. Anyway, the positive things about Interstellar far outweigh the negative things about it. My final score for the film is whatever I gave it for my spoiler-free review. I'm guessing a 8.5 out of 10. Anyway, This has been BNN, and love is not the strongest force in the universe.